last example mixes our skills with order of operations with absolute values. We've already learned that if you have the absolute value of a single number, it makes it positive. We've also already learned if you have the absolute value of more than one thing, you have to simplify inside of that first, and then make whatever the last number is positive when you get done. The hard part about questions with absolute values is that you don't know which absolute value signs necessarily go with which other ones. The most common mistake in this one is students see the -2 in the middle and make it +2. The problem with that, and we're going to, if you have two different colors or two different highlighters, if I make this absolute value green, where does it end? It ends here. And then it starts with another one, which I'm going to use blue, another one here, which ends here. So I need to simplify inside the green ones, and I need to simplify inside the blue ones. I cannot make the -2 in between +2 because it's not the same absolute value bars. Brackets are nice because they're rounded. You can see where one starts and one ends because they're rounded. Absolute value bars don't help us with that. So if I was simplifying this as part A, I would have -26 plus 13. Can you see that that would be, I'm going to color code this still, -13. And then I still have -2. And then I have my blue absolute value. And 10 minus 16 is -6. Wow. Things can get a little bit confusing here because we got like straight lines and a whole bunch of negative numbers. So one thing that's sometimes helpful is when you actually evaluate an absolute value, like what is the absolute value of -13? It's going to be +13. We could just write +13, but I'm going to just put it in brackets for now. Okay? And that's going to be important in this next part because I still have a minus and a 2, and then the absolute value of -6, that's going to be +6. And I'll put that in brackets. Now order of operations. I'm not going to do 13 minus 2. Why not? Because I have a multiplication here. So this will be, okay, I can technically, the brackets I didn't need around the 13. I can take them off. But I did need the brackets around the 6 to remind myself I have to do -2 times 6, which is -12. And this whole thing is equal to 1. So until your brain is really good at seeing where one thing starts and one thing stops, color coding it can be really helpful. And also, if this, like, if we just wrote, wow, it looks very hard to see what operations you have. I don't know. Do you see that there's a multiplication there? Or do you just see a bunch of numbers and a bunch of straight lines? That can be tough on your brain. So to make it easier, color coding right from the beginning tells you what you have to do inside each of them first. Then whenever you evaluate your absolute values, putting it in brackets temporarily maintains that if you had multiplication, that will show up. And you'll make a few less mistakes by being systematic that way. Part B, okay? You see that part B only has one set of absolute values. I can still color code it, but it's not going to be as crazy. We need to figure this out when x is 2. When you substitute, I'll still use my color coding. I'm going to Question 2, it says, when x is 2, so when you substitute a number in, you replace each of the x's with 2. Everything else stays the same. So wherever I have x's, I now put 2's. There's where my absolute value ends. And absolute values act like brackets. You need to simplify everything inside of there first. So order of operations, I would do 2 squared first, which is 4 times the negative 2. That'll be negative 8. Minus 3 times 2 will be minus 6, minus 4. And I get negative 18 inside the absolute values, so this just becomes positive 18. So that's where we're going to end today. We'll have some time to finish up these questions, 12, 13, and 14. Whoops.